Have you ever wondered how to use vos in Spanish? Or maybe you heard vos being used and had no idea what it meant. Now, when I talk about vos, I'm not talking about vos or voice in Spanish, but I'm actually talking about the pronoun vos, which can be used instead of tú. So basically, vos means tú. That's great, video over, right? Not so fast, because vos has its own conjugations and using it in sentences can be very, very tricky. And even if you aren't using vos when you speak Spanish, it's important to know how to use it because you may hear other native speakers using vos instead of tú. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use vos in Spanish, and I'm also going to show you when to use vos. All right. Now, the best thing about Spanish is also one of the most difficult things in Spanish, and that is that we all speak differently. Each of the 22 countries in which Spanish is the official language and each region within those countries has contributed over the centuries its own traits to the language. All right. That's why you may have never heard of el voceo, despite the fact that about 100 million Spanish speakers use it on a daily basis. So as I mentioned earlier, el voceo refers to the pronoun vos for you instead of the pronoun tú or usted for you. All right. Now, although in most cases, usted is still used in formal context. Now, the origin of el voceo lies in the treatment given to the nobility in times of the Spanish colonies, which vos was used to say your majesty. But over time, the citizens began adopting and altering this expression to use it in their daily life until it became you. Now today, el voceo is most commonly used in countries like Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, where the tú is very infrequent and the usted is reserved for formality. So vos is an informal you. It is also used, although less and depending on the region, in Colombia, Chile, Venezuela, Bolivia, Ecuador, Panama, and some Central American countries such as Costa Rica or Nicaragua. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my computer screen with you, and we're going to analyze when to use vos and how to use vos. Basically, I'm going to go over a few examples, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this super easy to understand for you. Okay, so first we're going to look at a few examples of using vos and how it translates to tú. And then I'm going to show you, of course, I'll have the English translation on there for you so you can see what it would mean in English. So this first sentence, vos no deberías jugar al fútbol, sos tan malo como si tuvieras dos pies izquierdos. So how does that translate in the tú translation? Because again, vos is used instead of tú. So vos means you. So, tú no deberías jugar al fútbol, eres tan malo. So as you can see in this example, tú turned to vos and eres turned to sos. And don't worry, we'll get into a little bit about the conjugation stuff in a second. But first, I just want you to be aware of how the tú changes to vos. And of course, the English translation here, you shouldn't play soccer. You're as bad as if you had 2 feet. Let's look at another example. Vos podés hacer lo que te propongas. Tú puedes hacer lo que te propongas. You can do what you propose. Now, I want to be clear. I don't use vos personally. We don't use that in Puerto Rico. But I've talked to people in Colombia. I think Colombia, Medellin was like the main place that I talked to people that use vos. And also Argentina. I've talked to people from Argentina that use vos, and Venezuela too. So, but if you're somebody that wants to learn the type of Spanish from those countries, then you're going to want to familiarize yourself with el voceo. All right, next, vos jugás al Minecraft. Tú juegas al Minecraft. So see how juegas turns to jugás, okay? And that means, do you play Minecraft? All right, so en el caso de la gran mayoría de los verbos regulares en tiempo presente, cuando los infinitivos terminan en ER, AR o IR, se reemplaza la última sílaba con es, as o is. So basically, ER when you're conjugating in the infinitive for el voceo in the present tense, ER changes to ES, AR turns to AS, and IR turns to IS. And you'll notice the tilde over the es, as, o is. This is very important because you'll notice that el voceo puts the tilde, which changes the pronunciation of these words typically. So just pay attention to how I pronounce these words. So for example, here's an ER example. I'll give you 3 examples of the ER, the AR, and the IR in the present tense, all right? So, tú muerdes la punta de mi lápiz. Vos mordés. So it's not mordes, it's mordes, because the tilde is at the end of the sentence above the E. So, vos mordés la punta de mi lápiz. Tú corres la maratón hasta el final. Vos corres, so it's not tú corres, it's not vos corres, it's vos corres. Corres, the emphasis is at the end. La maratón hasta el final. Tú no pierdes nunca. Vos no perdés nunca. So again, just pay attention to the emphasis with the vos, especially as you see in this present tense conjugations, is the emphasis is at the end of the word. All right, that's a little different. Muerdes, corres, pierdes. Notice how the emphasis is in the beginning when there's no tilde, but that changes when a tilde is added to the end. Vos mordés, vos corres, vos no perdés. All right, now let's move to the AR. Tú pisas primero con el pie derecho. Vos pisás primero con el pie derecho. Tú actúas muy bien. Vos actuás muy bien. Tú no andas muy bien en bicicleta, ¿verdad? Vos no andás muy bien en bicicleta, ¿verdad? And now let's look at IR. Remember, it changes to IS. So, tú escribes todos los días. Vos escribís todos los días. Tú añades sal a todas tus comidas. Vos añadís sal a todas tus comidas. Tú no te arrepientes de lo que hiciste. Vos no te arrepentís de lo que hiciste. Ok, en el caso de la gran mayoría de los verbos regulares, tanto en tiempo pasado como en tiempo futuro, en cambio, casi nunca se producen cambios en la conjugación. So basically, when we use vos in the past tense, it follows the same conjugation as the regular tú form in the past tense. So I'll show you a few examples. Tú mordías mi porción de pizza. Vos mordías mi porción de pizza. Tú actuabas muy bien en la escuela. Vos actuabas muy bien en la escuela. Tú no te arrepentías tanto ayer. Vos no te arrepentías tanto ayer. So as you can see, the imperfect stays the same right here. The tú and the vos are exactly the same. Tú, now let's look at the future, all right? Tú correrás como un profesional algún día. Vos correrás como un profesional algún día. Tú andarás por los caminos del mundo. Vos andarás por los caminos del mundo. Tú nos escribirás todos los meses, ¿verdad? Vos nos escribirás todos los meses, ¿verdad? Now, otras formas y usos del voceo. El vos también se utiliza para reemplazar a ti. So you also use vos instead of ti. So, voy a ser honesto contigo changes to voy a ser honesto con vos. Me encanta sentarme junto a ti. Me encanta sentarme junto a vos. All right? Now let's look at some regular commands in Spanish using vos instead of the tú. So, tú corre hasta la esquina. Vos corre hasta la esquina. All right, so what you're doing is you are changing the ending. You are adding a tilde. So it's basically the same. So corre changes to corre, but you add the emphasis in the end. So it's not tu corre, it's vos corre. All right? Tu pasa por la rectoria, tú pasa por la rectoria, vos pasa por la rectoria. So notice the emphasis is in the end. This is a common theme with vos. Now, IR changes to just an E. So, tú pide la cena, vos pedí la cena. Tú escribe tu nombre en la pizarra, vos escribí tu nombre en la pizarra. Now let's look at some of the irregular uses of el voceo. I'm sure there are more than this. I just wanted to show you a few. Don't get too hung up on the irregulars. These are like the main ones you need to know. All right, so tú eres una gran persona. Vos sos una gran persona. So eres changes to sos. All right. ¿Qué dices tú? ¿Qué dices tú que hagamos? ¿Qué decís vos que hagamos? All right. So what do you say we should do? Or what do you say that we're going to do? Disculpa, pero tú hueles mal. Disculpa, pero vos oles mal. So those are a few irregulars that, you should keep in mind. But basically, el voceo it's like a cultural mark, all right, of a large number of countries. And it's not essential. You don't have to know it. I never really grew up learning vos because we don't use it in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic or any of those Caribbean countries, and some parts like Mexico doesn't use it. But there are a lot of countries that do use it, as I mentioned today. And there's a lot of people that use vos. Not only that use vos, but they use it primarily instead of the tú form. So if you're going to these countries or you want to learn Spanish from these countries, then it would be a good idea to learn vos. All right? So not only is it going to help you communicate, it's going to help you understand better if you are consuming those types of Spanishes. So I always talk about the importance of consuming comprehensible input. Well, if you are consuming if you are consuming input from those countries, it might be difficult to make it comprehensible if they're using a lot of vos and you don't know how to use vos, or you don't even know what vos means. So that was the purpose of this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I really hope it makes conversations easier for you if you have friends in some of those countries that use it. And if you did find this helpful and you're looking to really take your Spanish to the next level, all you have to do is click the first link that's in the description or the link that's in the comments, or go to speakspanishfaster.com/YouTube. And that's going to take you to my free guide called The 3 Biggest Secrets to Learn Spanish Faster. Inside of that guide, I pretty much tell my story of how I learned Spanish, and I give you my 3 biggest secrets that'll help you learn Spanish so that you can speak it fluently, so that you can understand it, all that good stuff. All right, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the topic, the style of the video, finally got my studio, kind of set up how I wanted it to be. If you enjoyed the style of video, like speaking on screen, computer, I know there was a lot of English in this video, but topics like el voceo, I need to use English to make sure that you fully understand everything being said. Because if I did this whole video in Spanish, you'd be wondering, trying to translate what I'm saying, plus trying to put these concepts together, and it could be a lot. But comment below and let me know if you enjoyed the video. Last but not least, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Until next time, I'll see you then.